you! Here we are again with a kind of weird shaped box. How's it going, guys? It is Skeletal, and welcome back to yet another review. Today, as you can see here, we are taking a look at the Major Rager himself. We're looking at the Super7 Ultimate Cliff Burton. I am very excited for this. Metallica means the world to me. It was one of the bands that was the true gateway into everything I love about music today. All the bands that I really listen to and enjoy today are because of the Metallica guys and Ghost. I'll let people scream about Ghost not being metal in the comments. Not long after this was announced back in February, and I ordered it shortly afterwards, I found out that McFarlane had done a line in like the late 90s based off of the guys during the Justice for All era. So I went and hunted down, give me a second, Jason Newsted here, and he's still on card. But I really wish I could take this guy out of the box. I might have to go hunt a loose one down someday, but yeah, Metallica, I'm a big fan. So now I have two of the bass players. Maybe Rob will get a figure one day. Who knows? We need more Rob love. Yeah, I think this guy's fucking awesome, especially that hair sculpt. In Super7 Ultimate's fashion, it does have that slip cover that just slides right off the top. Has that nice denim look, because Cliff wore a lot of denim. You can see there at the bottom, contains one figure with accessories, Super7. You got a bunch of skulls across the back. And then, of course, Burton in a embroidered Metallica font. And then Ultimates across the top. Alright, so now, let's take this off. Slip cover.
Hi, Cliff. How you doing?
Well, bam! We're immediately greeted with a very Ride the Lightning inspired artwork here all across the box. Friggin' fantastic here. Once again, we get Burton, but in a different stylized Metallica font there. We got lightning bolts stemming all around the window on the package. And then on the back, we get that same artwork that I believe is on the reaction figure cards as well. Then we get a little read up. Clifford Lee Burton was born in Castro Valley, California. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can read it, pause it if you want. Proceeds will benefit the Cliff Burton Scholarship Fund. I should probably look into that before I reviewed this, but yeah, that's cool. I'm sure it's a good cause. Something about kids and music. Let me talk your ear off a little bit more here. What I think is really funny about this figure is that it is not Metallica licensed or involved in any way. If anything, it is more involved with Misfits, as you can see by the shirt there. The only licensing involved in this guy is, as you can see there, Cliff Burton, trademark, Burton family estate, and then the Misfits Fiend skull. Super7 has cranked out, I don't know how many different Misfits reaction figures, and I'm sure the Misfits were very happy to have this put on a little tribute to the Major Rager here. So anyways, I'll quit talking. It says Ultimates on the top there. Look at that. And I'm gonna get this guy open and we're gonna talk all about him because I am really excited. Alright, we've got him out of the box. I guess I'm still used to the chaos that was Waltor the Mad. But man, this is such a more laid back task to do compared to reviewing a 2-pack with the absolute madness that is Four Horsemen's amount of accessories they give you. Not a lot going on here. The denim on the jacket looks pretty good. We've got some dry brushing going on to give it that kind of a weathered denim jean kind of look. I don't know how to describe it, but you know, jeans aren't really one color. It's the blues and the whites all sewn and woven together. Got the Misfits shirt there of the skull, or the Fiend rather, excuse me. And then you know, this head sculpt, it's alright. It's a nice casual Mr. Burton, as we know him. The hair is pretty pliable as you go down. Oh no, it's actually pretty. But you know, as it goes upwards, it gets more solid. But it'll get out of the way enough to do whatever you want to do. But you know, if this is a musician we're talking about here, we're not going to be doing any like Spider-Man crazy poses or anything like that. The legs, you get a little bit of that kind of white paint on the blue there. Down the sides, and then that's about it. You got a hole on the knee. But, yeah, the legs are very plain. It really is just a light blue. And then down the seam lines, you get that white splattered in there. And then the boots are pretty much just brown. I mean, if you know anything about Super7 at this point, they do kind of have a cartoony look to their figures, even though when they tackle actual, like, people, especially in their musician stuff, it comes off a little weird. But I think that's just kind of lack of detail. I would have loved to see a little bit more with him, but I mean, it does the job, I guess. Alright, so let's go over head sculpts first. So this has got to be the coolest thing about this whole set, is the head sculpts are so top tier. Let me get some better lighting here. So a lot of this stuff is based off of, you know, what little footage of Cliff we have, but a lot of it is based off of Day on the Green. I forget what year, but I'm sure most Metallica fans have seen the video and know what I'm talking about. But there's a very, like, iconic moment where you see him like this, and same goes for the other head sculpt, but this is probably going to be how I display him. It's a nice in-between of, you know, not just casual and the absolute batshit crazy that the other head sculpt is, but he's got a nice flow coming down the side, and then he go ah. And when I first got this in hand, I thought the eyes on these head sculpts looked a little funky, but you know, now that I have them out of the box and then some better lighting in front of the camera, I think especially this one looks pretty damn good. And for the other one, this one, I think mine, the eyes might be a little lower. They're kind of missing the middle of the eye, kind of down on the eyelid, especially the left eye there. That's kind of funky looking. But I mean, this is a big old chunk of plastic here. Look at all that hair. Let me move Cliff out of the background so it stops focusing on him, and let's just get this face here. Yeah, there we go. But I mean, that is so much hair going on there. This is probably going to be a balance act if you're going to want to use this. And I'm interested to see how far he's willing to bend forward, considering that it is Super7 articulation, and there's not a lot going on in the bodies there. So, of course, we get a good old bass guitar with the fellow. Let me move him out of the frame again because it keeps wanting to focus on his face. For once, my camera is actually doing what I really needed to. I had to look up this guitar at first, but then I realized that on the headstock there, you can see very tiny font there. It actually says Pro Aria 2. So they got, I guess they would have to get the licensing for this, because I know Five Nights at Freddy's, Bonnie was using a flying V, and Gibson wasn't too happy about that, so Scott had to change it. So I don't know if this is licensed or not by whatever brand this is by, but it is really nice to see that level of detail. Because I know Lemmy, he's coming with an actual freaking Rickenbacker, and I would have liked to see Cliff's red Rickenbacker here, but since it is more of accuracy on the era, like I said, that footage from Day on the Green, this is what he was using, so it is accurate for what they were going for. But otherwise, it's really nice. It's a different material from what I've felt other instruments. I guess I'm used to the guitars from Spider Punks, where it's that gummy Hasbro plastic, but this is a nice, much more solid kind of plastic, and it's really shiny all around. And then the strap is a faux leather kind of feel. It's a little thin. We'd like to see it a little thicker maybe, so it won't break. Anyway, and then the last like actual accessory is a hammer. I'm sure if you're really into Metallica, you know why this is included, but Cliff was known for bringing a hammer with him. I'm gonna move this out of frame because it just keeps focusing on it, jeez. But Cliff was known for carrying a hammer with him pretty much everywhere he went, because he said you never know when you're gonna need one to just smack shit with. So they included a hammer, which is really cool. But I think it could also be the Kill 'Em All hammer. I think they called it that. I don't know if this looks like the Kill 'Em All hammer. I will have to look. I'm not really well versed on that album. Burn me at the stake, I know, but everything else I like a lot. Alright, now let's talk about hands. Out of the box, he comes with these just kind of open, casual hands, and I really like it because every one of these hands comes with the rings that and they are very accurate to how they actually looked. So here are two fists. I'll get the focus there. So on one hand he had the open jaw one, and the other one where it didn't have a jaw. So side to side hinge, fists, and then I probably should save this for last, but I just think it's amazing. Lemmy is also coming with something like this. Good old bird flipper hand. He will probably be displayed with this for me. We've got two gripping hands, and of course with the rings on them. So if you want him to hold that hammer or whatever else, he can. And then we've got two playing hands. So we've got the actual plucking at the strings hand, and then we've got our fretting hand. Very nice, very nice. And let's talk about articulation for this fella. So I'm sure most of you know, if you've dabbled in Super7 Ultimates, or even Mythic Legions for that matter, you know how this is going to go. Pretty much everything is going to be just 90 degrees. So the head does head things. That's pretty tight on there, which you're gonna get. Actually, that's pretty good there. Just have to pop it a little bit. That hair doesn't seem to be too restrictive. You can do pretty much whatever you want with it. So hey, that's pretty nice. Arms come out. I don't want to push it too hard, but I'm sure it goes straight out. And then, of course, it goes 360 around. Single jointed elbow goes to about there, just a little over 90. Hands just swivel going, and then you got the hinge going back and forward, and that's it. For the body, it is a big ol' thick overlay for the shirt, and what's really weird here is that the shirt and the jacket are actually glued together. They're not one big old piece, I don't think, but they pretty much are, since they are glued together. Yeah, you can see the shirt coming down back there. Is it actually separate? The jacket is like tabbed in at the bottom. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it with my lighting, but there's a tab going into the shirt there and on the other side. So yeah, he's got some kind of swivel up in there going all the way around, kind of going at the hips. I don't feel... Well, this is a Super 7 figure. There's probably not going to be a diaphragm. Yeah, you get the twist. That's it. He's really squeaky. Ugh. I don't think previous Super 7 figures had thigh cut, did they? Have they been doing this all along? So, oh, it's actually a peg. Interesting. And then, okay, so it technically is a thigh cut then. So you've got a peg going into the crotch there, and then to a hinge joint. And then the ball has a peg coming down into the... So that's, say, a hidden thigh cut. He has a rubber overlay on the butt. So, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could probably get the leg back, but you're probably not going to get too much kickback. But it goes back about that far, and then it kind of stops. Single hinged knee. Uh-oh. I don't know what that is going on there. That's just the jeans coming down over the hinge there, but I'm not gonna mess with that leg. I feel like I'm gonna snap something. I've got him in like a frolicking pose, just trying to show y'all articulation. So yeah, the knee, I can only get it to go up that far. Not too amazing, but then, you know, of course it will swivel if I can get it, because it does have a peg going down. You know, you got some rotate there, at the knee, and then the boots, these big old bell bottoms that Cliff wore. It seems to be a separate part, a peg going up into the shin, and then it allows that whole bit there to rotate, and you got a peg for rocker going down to the foot. So, you know, for these big old bell bottoms, they actually allow some decent movement there. This is what he looks like headless, if you wanted to see the ball peg there. So I wanted to get him up in that one knee pose, leaning on the amp. And I just simply don't have anything to do so. So he's just kind of standing at the moment. But anyways, aside from Super7 type things, where it kind of has that hollow, plasticky feel, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm personally not a fan of that kind of feel. It's a very brittle, hollow kind of plastic, and it feels like if I really force it too hard, I'm gonna break something. And that's unfortunate. I like what Super7 puts out, but their stuff is just kind of fragile feeling, and I'm really scared whenever I pick it up. And this is one of those rare times where I did actually have to heat up the ball on the neck and also the head in order to do the swap here. Usually I just no balls it, and this time I couldn't get it, so I actually did have to dunk it in some water and get it warmed up. The weight wasn't too bad. This is nothing compared to Lemmy. This was announced in February of 2023, I believe, and we are in December, and here we are. Lemmy, on the other hand, I ordered in late summer of 2022, and he shipped around the same time as this guy. So any day now, really, I should be getting Lemmy in the mail. And man, it's been forever since I ordered that. Holy, I can't imagine how Poxus Wave people are feeling. All that stuff aside, you know, this isn't really a figure I'm going to be toying with too much. He's probably going to spend a lot of time like this. You know, I might throw this head on somewhere down the line. But he's going to stay like this for a while, and he does what I need him to do. I am pretty pleased with this. Don't quite know if it's worth what I paid for it, but you know, if this guy does get pricier, I'd imagine he would, considering that it is Cliff Burton. You know, it's better than paying whatever this guy might reach in the future. But this is definitely one of my favorite releases of 2023. I am pretty daggum happy with what I got here. And he is going to be a very welcomed addition to my, what I call the James shelf. It's just, here, I'll show. It's Mythic Legion, it's Masters of the Universe. Just stuff that doesn't fit in anywhere else in my collection and just kind of stands alone. But yeah, a lot of metal stuff going on up there. Don't know if you caught up, but there's like King Diamond and, well, can't say Ghost because that'll make people angry. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I highly recommend this if you are a figure collector and a Metallica fan. But this is a definite pickup for if you are into either of those hobbies. And I will see you all in the next one. Happy questing as usual.